And we're back on the Frankie Sports Programming Network, FSPN, because FESPN. and as we await for the draft, there's a story out there. There's a story saying that maybe we should trade Mr. Breece Hall. Breece the Beast. Get rid of him. Well, so let's explore this idea. Now, first of all, I'd like to say that I love Breece Hall. Want him on my team. Think he's amazing. And if you remember back in the day when we bought right before we um, drafted him in that off season when we were talking about who we're going to get in the second round with that high pick in the second round, I said we're going to get the best running back in the draft, Breece Mother effing Hall, and we did. And he has been. You can make your case for old. The running back over on Seattle, Kenneth, whatever his name is, but he's been too injured. The only other guy who comes close to Breece Hall. So, but let's take a look at Breece's career and see why might a team trade for him? Why might they not? When we're talking about Breece Hall, you got to look at, well, what has he done? We all know he's been injured, and that has affected his career. Here he is. Here's Breece, the Beast Hall. Still only 23 years old. Now, you look at his career, and somebody's going to say, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What they're going to look at is this yards per attempt for running backs. It's generally what you're going to look at. How effective was this guy every time he touched the ball? And you can see that in his rookie year, he was fantastic, 5.8. Now, he was in limited duty 7 games. We all know he got hurt. And that yards per attempt average was bulked up by he had that huge run against Denver in the game that he got hurt. So it's a little misleading, but still, 5.8 is incredible. Average is about 4.4, 4.5 for a NFL running back. So the next year he comes back, he's injured, coming back from injury, 4.5. And everybody said, well, oh, that's pretty. I mean, considering that's not too bad. And then this year he had, quote unquote, a down year, 4.2. And so, it looks like this is declining, and you might get a guy who's on the downswing. So nobody wants to trade for that. One thing nobody ever mentions is the receptions. I mean, he also provides uh, value in the passing game. In 2023, had 76 catches. 76. That's second most for a running back in Jets history. Nobody ever talks about that. Why doesn't anybody talk about the fact that Breece Hall had the second most receptions for a running back in Jets history? No one ever mentions it. Some reason. I don't know. So he had 1,585 yards that year from scrimmage, if you include the receiving yards, which you should, because a rushing yard and a receiving yard are the same. You don't get any extra points for doing one or the other. They're exactly the same if you catch the ball or run the ball. So scrimmage yards are what matters because people will talk about his rushing yards and say, well, he hasn't had 1,000-yard season yet. 994 is the highest he's ever had. Ha. Yeah, but he had a 1,600-yard season. You followed that up with 1,359 in a year that was a down year. Still caught 57 passes. Uh, Even though in 24 he had 9 drops. And that's something you got to improve upon, Breece, because we can't be having 6 fumbles and 9 drops. Ball security is job security. So it's I guess when you look at this and we've watched him play every game, so we're just using the stats, to for those who may not watch every game. We know Breece very well, and it's a confusing picture. He can be great. Oh, this was an 83-yard run. Yeah, that 83-yard run that he had 62 the year before. I mean, he's had some breakers, game breakers. This 83-yard run led the league. So he's a home run hitter. But it depends how you look at it. His yards per attempt is going down in his career. How much do you think the knee plays into effect? Is he going to be completely healthy? Now, we've also seen a lot of workout videos from this off season, and he's working his butt off, and he is. I mean, according to these videos, you watch him, it's like, oh, okay, Breece is becoming a monster. And he also gives you something in the passing game, but he also fumbled 6 times last year and had 9 drops. So what is he? What's his value? Now, that's really going to be the question. And it's going to take, if I would go into general manager Frankie mode, Of course, you take all the calls. You don't want to trade Breece Hall. You're probably not calling around, unlike with Alan Lazard. You're not calling around trying to get a deal for Breece Hall. Sell him to the highest bidder. No, you're not doing that. But if somebody calls you up and offers and wants to talk about it, you take the call. And the only way I could really see this working is in a big deal way. Now, anytime you talk about big trades with the NFL, a lot of people say that's never going to happen. Nope, nope, no. Like people are just very closed minded toward big ideas in terms of trades. But I love big ideas in terms of trades. If we're going to make a trade, let's make a trade. Know what I'm saying? Let's make a trade, man. Let's make a real trade. So, like, what could that be? Well, first of all, some team would have to really, really love Breece Hall. Some team that wanted him in 2022 couldn't get him and still loves him, just loves Breece Hall and thinks, well, he played for the Jets. I mean, their offense stunk. Yeah, we put him on our team. It's going to be a different story. We're going to get what we thought you were getting out of college. So they would have to love him. So that's number one. Number two, they'd have to love probably some other player on our team that's underutilized. Let's say Malachi Corley. A lot of teams really did like Malachi Corley. So let's say you were a team that loved Breece Hall coming out, loved Malachi Corley coming out, and you looked at the Jets and you said, well, the Jets were a mess. They had Zach Wilson, then they benched him, and they had all these people, and the offensive line was a problem, and then they got Rodgers, and he wanted to throw the ball 7,000 times a game because he's Aaron Rodgers and he wants to pad his career stats. So that wasn't so great for Breece. So you go, okay, we think we could get a lot out of Breece Hall. We think we could get a lot out of Malachi Corley. All right, so now we're trading for Breece Hall and Malachi Corley. And what could a trade look like? Let's say Will McClay is the guy who loves those. And this is just an example. And this is the type of trade I would consider. I wouldn't, because if you trade Breece Hall in a minor deal, Breece Hall for a fourth, Breece Hall for a fifth, I don't want to do that. Breece Hall is going to give you probably more value than that. So if we're going to make a trade, then I think it has to be a big deal. What would a big deal look like? All right. Let's say it was Will McClay who loves these guys. So we trade Breece Hall, Malachi Corley, our second round pick, a fifth round pick, and a third round pick next year for the 12th overall pick in the draft in the first round this year. Now, why would we do that? Well, the goal there would be if we had the 7th overall pick and we had the 12th overall pick, I would then not even take Gianti, for example, though you could do that. The 7th overall pick, I would take my offensive tackle still. No surprise for people who know me. So I would take either Membu or Cambu or Banks, who's ever there. Hopefully Membu or Campbell. And then you have the 12th pick. So then you hope you get Tyler Warren. And if not him, maybe Loveland or maybe one of those edge players like Shamar Stewart or Mike Green or somebody of that nature. Or even maybe Tet McMillan. So now that's the type of deal I would do. Now, I don't know if the Cowboys would be interested in that, but it would have to be that they love those two players they're getting and the additional draft capital that they're getting. They didn't do much in free agency, so they say, well, we're getting extra draft capital. We're getting a home run hitter that we've always wanted since we've lost Zeke Elliott, in Breece Hall. And they're getting a wide receiver. They do need a wide receiver there. And they're getting one that they think, can play up to his third round draft pick potential in their offense with a real offense and a real quarterback. And, Shoddy can get the most out of him. And then on top of that, they're getting additional draft capital for this year and next year. And now, am I saying that's likely? No. But if we're going to do a big deal, it should be something like that. If we're going to get rid of Breece Hall, it has to be a big deal. I don't want to just trade him for a fourth round pick or a fifth round pick or something like that. That's not worth my time, because there is a good chance that Breece is going to be very productive, and Malachi too. I'm actually very optimistic about Malachi. I wouldn't really want to give him up, but if you're going to get the 12th overall pick in the draft, okay, you got to give something up here. I mean, but I would not want to just give up Malachi Corley just for nothing. I do think he's going to be much more productive in this Justin Fields type offense where we're running RPO plays like slice plays and glance routes and things he can do. So that's what I think. Breece Hall, well, look, it depends. It's in the eye of the beholder. There's a lot to like. There's some things that you don't like. And so It all really just depends. That being said, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, why not subscribe to the channel or give it a thumbs up or consider joining the inner circle where you get lots of exclusive items. Click the join button. $4.99 a month, and you get exclusive documents like draft guides and other things only if you join the inner circle. That being said, I'll see you next time.